If there's one thing I've learned about people, it's that technology doesn't make us smarter. It just gives us louder ways to embarrass ourselves. Our neighborhood decided, a few months ago, that we needed a community group chat. Someone said it would be efficient. Someone else said it would bring us closer. And because no one wanted to sound unfriendly, we all agreed, which in hindsight was our first collective mistake. The group was called Neighbors United, though barely civilized would have been more accurate. At first, it was harmless. We shared weather updates, lost packages, cat sightings. Walter posted pictures of his lawn like they were Renaissance paintings. Veronica Hale used it to promote her charity brunches, which mostly featured her own face. Daniel Price asked if anyone had a ladder, then forgot to return it. And Emily, sweet, oversharing Emily, treated it like a diary with an audience. I mostly watched. Observing is safer than participating, until one day I didn't have a choice. It began on a Tuesday, which is when all disasters begin, quietly pretending to be ordinary. At 9:14 a.m., someone posted a message that changed everything. It wasn't long, just one sentence. Maybe if some people spent less time spying and more time sweeping, the street wouldn't look like a dump. No name, just text. Anonymous, in a group of 12 people. Within 30 seconds, the chat went from silent to volcanic. Emily was the first to respond. Who said that? That's so rude. Then Walter, probably directed at me. My leaves fell again. The wind has opinions. Then Veronica. Some of us don't need to sweep when we already hire professionals. And then Caroline, who hadn't said a word in weeks. Some of us hire professionals for everything. Apparently, the typing bubbles never stopped after that. My phone buzzed like it was trying to escape a confession. I sipped my tea and watched the meltdown unfold. Until, inevitably, someone dragged me into it. Evelyn, since you're the one who notices everything, did you see who posted it? Of course, because when chaos needs a referee, it calls the only one with a notebook. I typed slowly, because drama deserves good pacing. I didn't see who sent it, but perhaps whoever did has a broom to spare. Silence, for 10 glorious seconds. Then, that's not funny, Evelyn, it was, but fine. By noon, half the neighborhood was convinced the message came from Walter. The other half accused Veronica. A small but vocal faction blamed the mysterious Mrs. Moore, which, honestly, I found flattering. At 3 p.m., someone changed the group name to the Street of Secrets. No one admitted it, but I had my suspicions. At 4:17, Caroline left the group. At 4:20, she rejoined, probably realized that leaving only made her look guilty. By 6:00, Detective Ryan Collins was at my door. "I assume you've seen the messages?" he asked. "Assume less, Detective," I said. "It's bad for your blood pressure," he sighed. "Someone filed a harassment complaint." "Over a text?" He nodded. "Apparently Veronica claims it's defamation. Walter claims it's a threat. Emily claims it's about her cat." "That cat does shed aggressively," I said. He pinched the bridge of his nose. "Mrs. Moore, do you know who sent it?" "Not yet," I said, "but I have tea steeping and an evening free." He gave me that look, the one between exasperation and resignation, and left. The moment his car disappeared, I opened my laptop. The trick with neighborhood drama is to look where people forget they're visible. Metadata, message timing, writing patterns. Everyone has a fingerprint, even the passive-aggressive ones. By 9 p.m., I had 3 suspects. Veronica Hale, type speed, fast. Punctuation, dramatic. She uses double spaces after periods, like it's still 1998. Walter Briggs writes like he's drafting a memo for the city council. Never uses emojis. Too formal for that message. Emily Dawson, emotional, impulsive, uses 3 question marks when one would do, but none of them matched perfectly. The tone was too precise, too clean. Someone wanted to sound messy, but wasn't, which left one possibility. Caroline Price, the woman who had been silent for weeks, who rejoined the group minutes after leaving, who had a reason to stir trouble and hide while doing it. I smiled. Scandal doesn't disappear. It just moves platforms. If you want to know what people are truly like, don't check their houses, check their group chats. By morning, Neighbors United had split into 3 factions. The justice seekers, led by Emily, who demanded a public apology. The elite silence, Veronica and her admirers, who claimed to rise above gossip while feeding it privately. And me, an independent state, armed with sarcasm and Wi-Fi. I made coffee strong enough to confess its sins and opened my laptop. If Caroline really was behind that anonymous message, she wouldn't have just deleted it. She would have performed the deletion. She always made a scene when pretending not to. Sure enough, at 8:12 a.m., she left the group again. Then rejoined 10 minutes later, posting a single emoji. That, in digital diplomacy, means, "I'm guilty but moisturized." At noon, the situation escalated. Someone, again anonymous, posted a screenshot, a snippet of private messages between Veronica and Daniel. Nothing explicit, but suggestive enough to make every spouse within a 5-house radius question their life choices. Within minutes, chaos bloomed like mold. Emily sent 8 voice notes, each beginning with, "I'm not trying to start drama, but..." Walter threatened to sue for invasion of privacy, though no one knew whose privacy he meant. Veronica stopped pretending to be calm and typed in all caps. I, of course, made popcorn. Detective Collins returned, looking as if he'd aged a decade in a day. "Mrs. Moore," he said, "did you post anything to this chat?" "I wouldn't dream of it," I replied. "My crimes are grammatical, not digital." He muttered, "One of these days that group will explode for real." I smiled. "Oh, detective, it already has." That evening, as the sun dipped behind the row of identical houses, a new message appeared. "If you want the truth, check the notice board tomorrow morning." No signature, just that. The notice board sat at the entrance of the neighborhood park, where announcements usually went to die. Bake sales, lost keys, yoga flyers. Now it was the stage for our collective downfall. At 7 a.m., sharp, half the street gathered there. Robes, slippers, caffeine. And taped neatly in the center of the board was a single printed page. Subject, transparency. From Anonymous Neighbor. Content, screenshots, 3 full pages of them. Veronica's private comments about Cheryl's salon. Daniel's complaints about his wife's spending. Walter's rants about noise. Even Emily's poem about the loneliness of small towns, all public. All labeled by house number, no signature, but a watermark in the corner caught my eye. A faint, almost erased CP Caroline Price. The crowd murmured. Phones flashed. Veronica gasped loud enough to scare the pigeons, and Caroline, bless her dramatic soul, appeared right on cue. Perfect hair, trench coat, the calm of someone ready to detonate gracefully. "I didn't post that," she said. "Then who did?" Walter demanded. She hesitated. "Someone using my initials." "Which someone?" Veronica snapped. Caroline's silence was a masterpiece. That's when Collins arrived again, coffee in hand, moral compass spinning. "Everyone step back," he said. "Tampering with private messages is a criminal offense." Veronica turned to him. "You have to arrest her." "I can't arrest someone for bad taste," he replied. I chuckled. He glared. "Mrs. Moore," he said, "you're awfully quiet." "I'm listening," I said. "It's the only time the truth speaks up." But inside, my mind was running faster than Walter's lawnmower. The watermark, CP, was too obvious. Caroline was dramatic, yes, but she was also smart. She wouldn't sign her own digital confession. Someone wanted her blamed. Someone subtle enough to fake subtlety. That night, While the neighborhood processed its collective humiliation, I poured tea and opened my notes. Timeline. Message 1. Anonymous insult. Message 2. Private screenshots. Notice board drop. Same tone. Same grammar, but not Caroline's. Her emails always overused commas like they were nervous tics. These messages were sleek, elegant, deliberate. Someone with taste and too much time. Veronica Hale. She had motive, revenge for the salon debacle, control over gossip, and a flair for theatrics. She'd always wanted to manage the narrative. At 11 p.m., a final message appeared in the group chat. Some of you talk too much. Maybe tomorrow you'll talk less. The chat went silent, for the first time since its creation. Silence on the internet is never peace. It's just the sound of everyone screenshotting. By sunrise, Neighbors United had been renamed again. This time to Crisis Control, which was optimistic. You can't control a crisis that has already started merchandising itself. Veronica didn't show her face all morning. Caroline went for a walk, which I assume meant circling the block until she felt absolved. Walter busied himself polishing his garden gnome, which is what he does when real problems appear. And I made a list. The anonymous messages had patterns. Every one of them was sent between 8:55 and 9:15 p.m. sharp. Predictable. Almost scheduled. So I did what any respectable neighbor investigator would do. I went to Cheryl's salon. Not for gossip. Well, not only for gossip. Cheryl greeted me with her usual look of exhaustion. "Don't start," she said. "Half my clients canceled. The other half want to know if I've bugged the dryers again." "Did you?" I asked. She threw me a towel. "No, but if I had, this would have been better edited." We both laughed. The tired kind of laugh that comes when you realize you're living in a comedy you didn't audition for. That's when the doorbell rang. Veronica. Perfectly dressed, perfectly composed, holding her phone like a sword she wasn't afraid to use. "I came for a blowout," she said. "And maybe justice," Cheryl sighed. "Justice costs extra." Veronica ignored her and turned to me. "Evelyn, you've been quiet. Suspiciously quiet." "I find chaos speaks for itself," I replied. Her lips twitched. "I didn't send those messages, you know." "Of course you didn't," I said. "You would have hired someone to do it better." She smiled. Slow, sharp, practiced. If I wanted to ruin Caroline, I wouldn't do it through a chat. I'd host a brunch. "Then who did it?" Cheryl asked. Veronica looked at me. "Why don't you tell us, Mrs. Moore? You seem to have opinions about everything else." I leaned back in my chair. "All right. The truth, when it arrives, should do so elegantly. The messages weren't Caroline's," I began. "She's impulsive but not stupid. And they weren't yours, Veronica, because while you love drama, you also love credit. Anonymous chaos doesn't suit you." She frowned, intrigued despite herself. "They weren't Walter's either. Too grammatically consistent. And Emily? She wouldn't risk confrontation. She'd post a poem about forgiveness first." Cheryl raised an eyebrow. "So who's left?" I smiled. "Who do we all trust with our secrets, our small talk, our timing?" Cheryl froze. "You think it was me?" "Not maliciously," I said. "You schedule everyone's appointments. You know when people are online, who's free, who's arguing. You wanted peace. And peace in this neighborhood requires a controlled explosion." Her face went pale. "I just wanted them to stop fighting," she said softly. "I thought if they saw how ugly it looked from the outside, they'd stop?" I finished. "Oh, Cheryl, you must be new to human nature." Veronica's eyes gleamed. Well, the stylist turned strategist. "Don't you dare report me," Cheryl snapped. Veronica took out her phone. "I don't need to. I'll just post about it." "Ladies," I said, standing, "before anyone weaponizes Wi-Fi again, might I suggest a truce?" They stared at me like I'd suggested friendship. "You've both had your turns at being the villain," I continued. "Let someone else have a scandal for once." The detective's tired, the neighborhood's traumatized, and frankly, I've run out of tea. Cheryl sank into her chair. I'll delete the account. Good girl, I said. Though the screenshots will live forever. Veronica smiled. So will the whispers. Of course, I replied. That's how civilization survives. Later that night, Neighbors United vanished from my phone, deleted. In its place, a new group appeared, emergency alerts only. Within 5 minutes, Walter posted, "Is this for real emergencies or emotional ones?" Emily sent a heart emoji. Veronica replied, "Same thing, dear." I turned off notifications, permanently, but peace never lasts here. A few days later, as I trimmed my roses, a rare moment of actual gardening, Caroline stopped by. She looked calmer, almost radiant. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For making it all make sense." "I didn't," I said. "I just organized the chaos into prettier sentences," she smiled. Veronica invited me to her next brunch. I blinked. "Are you going?" "Of course," she said. "I'm bringing my husband," I stared. "That's either brave or suicidal," she shrugged. "Sometimes it's the same thing." When she left, I watched her walk past Veronica's house. They exchanged smiles, polite, brittle, almost human. I went back inside and checked my phone. No new messages, no drama, just stillness. I should have known better. At 10:47 p.m., I received a text from an unknown number. New group created, the neighbors unfiltered, no description, no admin listed. Just 12 members and me. They never learn. If you're listening, my dear viewer, tell me, would you stay in the chat? Or would you leave before it turns into another storm? Let me know in the comments. I'll be here, pretending to mind my own business. And if you enjoy this kind of chaos, the kind that smells like hairspray and hypocrisy, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to The Neighbor from 42, and keep your phone close. Because in this neighborhood, the next message could be about you.